Hey, welcome back, everybody. J.R. Flatter here, co-host Lucas. How you doing?
Pretty good.
So this is session 4 of 5 of our multiple-part series on getting an ICF accreditation. I know we talk about all this stuff indirectly, but we wanted to take some time to focus specifically on the 5 phases of getting an ICF accreditation. If you missed any of the earlier sessions, you can find them on our website or our YouTube site. But this time, we're going to focus on the performance evaluation, which is step 4 of 5 to getting an ICF accreditation.
Just wanted to mention, too, that you can download the checklist PDF, and it's going to summarize some of this info. Either hold it and follow along or just look at later.
You're listening to the Building a Coaching Culture podcast. Each week, we share leadership development, coaching, and culture development insights from leading experts who are developing world-class cultures in their own organizations.
So this is one of those requirements that you must pass, but as a program, the ICF gives us a lot of autonomy on what it means to get in a performance evaluation. When do I give it to you? What does it actually consist of? So we choose to give you the performance evaluation during your mentor coaching. And I talked about observations earlier that I, as a program, am required to observe you and give you written and verbal feedback 6 times during your coaching accreditation journey as an accredited program. And we have done the math, and it's really no way to do it other than during the mentor coaching journey. And the same is true of the performance evaluation. To give you the kind of in-depth written and verbal feedback that you deserve, it's best in the one-on-one sessions of your mentor coaching journey under an accredited program. I know I keep saying that, but it's so important to streamline your journey. So given that autonomy, what should a performance evaluation look like? The ICF provides Assessor training. So if you're to go through a non-accredited program and submit your recordings and your transcripts to the ICF, a trained assessor would look at those sessions and those recordings, and with an assessor evaluation form, grade you on your performance. Was it ACC level? Was it PCC level? Was it MCC level? Depending on what you're applying for. And that form is a very detailed description of your coaching session. And so that's what we've chosen to use as the foundation of our performance evaluation. So we've indirectly talked about the competencies, but we haven't talked about are the PCC markers. So the ICF published a couple years ago now, the renewed version of what the PCC markers were. ICF is keeping up with the pace of change in the world and the pace of change in coaching. And so they had brand new competencies and a brand new set of markers to demonstrate those competencies. So the ICF Assessor form is the 8 competencies broken down into the markers that are within those competencies. And depending on how you add them up, there's over 40 markers that an assessor is looking for when they're grading your performance. Or in our case, the mentor is looking for when they're grading your performance. But they're using the same form. So it's an apples and apples comparison of what the ICF would look for and what we look for. And across those 40 plus markers that you demonstrate coaching with, some of them are required once, some of them are required multiple times. That the assessor, and in your case, your mentor, is looking for those multiple examples. In addition to looking for the example, they're looking for contra examples. So one of the markers is don't interrupt. And if you interrupted, that's a contra marker. It's like a merit and a demerit. And we have a lot of subjectivity as to when we think it was so gross of a contra marker that you shouldn't pass that particular competency, or you don't pass the particular session at an ACC level or a PCC level or an MCC level. So again, we have a lot of structure, but a lot of autonomy as well. Again, every mentor is going to have their own style of how they take notes during your session and the feedback that they give you and how they give it to you, what they consider to be sufficient or insufficient. That's the human element of this coaching journey. When you're coaching, the leaders you're coaching have that same level of autonomy, probably even greater level of autonomy of saying whether your coaching was successful or not successful. It applies even outside of the academic environment that we're in when we're seeking an accreditation. So the first two competencies, 1 and 2, the ethics, core values, is a yes or a no. Did you coach in line with the ethics and core values of the ICF? Number 2, did you coach with a coaching mindset? When I'm the assessor, or anybody's your assessor, it's a yes or a no. It would be hard for me to imagine that you would pass a session if either of those were no. So take a step back. When we're looking at the ICF core competencies and the markers that are within them, the ICF asks us to be familiar with them. So don't memorize the core competencies and the core values and the ethics, but be sufficiently familiar with them that you know when you're using them and when you're choosing not to use them. I'm not asking you to memorize them. Nobody can memorize 40 plus markers and demonstrate them. Secondly, in any given session, you're not going to be able to demonstrate all 8 competencies and certainly not all 40 plus markers. So don't even set that as an ideal for yourself. We recommend to our student coaches, when you're going through your mentor coaching and your 3 one-on-one sessions, when you're doing coaching for a performance evaluation, 2 practice and then 1 final in those 3 one-on-one sessions, have the same leader to coach all 3 times. And the reason we recommend that is then your mentor has an opportunity to see you coach the arc of a session, but also has the opportunity to see you coach the arc of a relationship. And even though it's just 3 sessions, it's still the arc of a relationship. Of the 8 competencies and the 40 plus markers within those competencies, you should be demonstrating all of them across your coaching. Not in any given session, maybe not in any given relationship, but across your coaching practice, you should see all of those. As human beings, we're going to have a tendency to go to things that we're familiar with and comfortable with. And going back to competency 2, having a reflective growth mindset, you should ask yourself, am I hitting all of these in my practice? And you're going to get written and verbal feedback in all 3 of those one-on-one sessions as part of your performance evaluation. The remarks are going to get sharper and sharper because you're getting better and better, and you deserve that kind of feedback. It's not going to be condescending or judgmental, but it's going to be sharper and sharper. Your mentor will not schedule you for your 3rd exam unless they're confident you're going to pass. So we have a 100% pass rate, and the way we achieve that is we don't schedule you for your 3rd one until we're 100% certain that you're going to be okay.
The first question I had, the requirement is audio. What value do we get in using video or even live versus just audio if we're trying to evaluate somebody's coaching?
Yeah, great question. So, you don't have to be a neuroscientist to know we communicate a lot through body language, the way you're sitting, the way you cock your eyebrow perhaps, or the look on your face. And so having that video allows a much richer experience with the assessor. If the assessor were just listening, it would be entirely different written and verbal feedback. It's really important that they be able to see you.
I guess to follow up on that, the candidate needs to provide an audio or a transcript of the entire verbal exchange. We provide that, right? Yeah,
great question. This is part of the maturation of the ICF. The burden's entirely on the leader or the student coach. We offer to record for them, but if you go through an accredited program, level 1, level 2, or level 3, you don't need, MCCs at level 3 need recordings. ACC and PCC do not need recordings if they've gone entirely through an accredited program. If they go through the portfolio path, they're going to need recordings, depending on what level they're going for. Yeah, so as part of your written and verbal feedback, your mentor will send you a copy of their assessor form. The way that we conduct them, we do hour-long sessions, which is what the ICF requires, and coach for 20 to 30 minutes, which, again, is what the ICF requires. And the next 30 minutes of that hour is you one-on-one with your mentor receiving written and verbal feedback. And so you'll get immediate feedback on that session. It's fresh in your mind, it's fresh in the mentor's mind. But the ICF assessor form that they filled out while you were coaching, you'll get a copy of that digitally as well.
Oh, I had another question.
Yeah, of course.
The minimum requirement is 20 minutes. It says between 20 and 60 minutes. I mean, obviously, you probably get more value out of a longer session. Do we have any sort of standard for that?
I say 20 to 30 minutes, and that's what we tell our students and we tell our mentors. We are in a constrained academic environment, usually, and I think that's more than sufficient. In our training programs, regardless of which path you take, we offer the opportunity to coach for longer periods of time and be observed and get written and verbal feedback from your peers. And so all of the students, before they get their performance evaluation, that we have anyway, have coached that entire hour. So they have that experience under their belt. So that is the performance evaluation. Quick and down and dirty, I guess. We'll see you next time, and we're going to talk about the ICF coaching exam. Again, if you've missed any of the sessions before this, they're available on our website or on our YouTube channel. Take care. Well, that concludes this episode of Building a Coaching Culture. I truly hope that this episode was helpful to you. If it was, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Maybe stop and give us a rating or a review and share this podcast with someone who might find it helpful as well. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.